Hey everybody, Paula here. I'm going to show you today how to make the most awesome simple salsa at home. It's cheaper than the store, it tastes better than the store, you're going to love it. My father-in-law begs for this recipe. Trust me, it's good. So, today we're going to start with some fresh tomatoes from my garden. You do not have to do fresh tomatoes. You can also do canned tomatoes from the store, which is like $1 to $1.30 a can, depending on where you get them from. But I prefer to just use these because they are out back. So today I want to tell you a little bit about ratios. So in making a batch, this one's going to have like 8 to 10 large tomatoes. But I mean, you don't have to make a batch that big. I like to because we have 4 kids. We fly through this stuff. If we have a family get together, a ninja full of this stuff can get gone really fast. So today we will be working with the Ninja. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ratios and then we're going to get going. But the first thing that you need to know is get you a pot of boiling water. You don't want it to bubble over, so I just go about half full in this size of a pot. With your tomatoes, what you have to do is you have to remove all this stuff, all these goodies that come on with it in the garden. I've got my trash can down there. So any of these center hard parts we're going to cut out. And I won't do all of these in front of you. I'll cut the video and I'll do that in a minute. But so you're going to see that they'll all end up like this. And so the idea is you're going to boil them and you're going to boil the skin off and soften the tomato before you put it in the Ninja. So the other thing that you're going to boil with the tomatoes is going to be your peppers. I dug these out of the fridge. I got a couple jalapenos here. For a medium to mild batch, you might want 1 jalapeno per 4 tomatoes. That could be a little spicy. You might want to try a half. But that you get experience with it because once you make this, you're going to love it. The more you make it, you're going to fine tune it for what you like. But for me, we like spice. So I have 2 serrano peppers and 2 jalapenos. These are habanero peppers, which are super spicy. And unless you love spice, don't even think about putting these in there. And another thing is when you're boiling peppers, they kind of put out a spicy steam, and it actually can bother people that have, respiratory problems or whatever. So I would think these guys, you might just throw these in the batch, in the blender when you're done. I'm not an expert on that, but I do know it happens that you can get this kind of spicy steam in the air. So I'm going to set those back. I'm not going to use them. So let's talk a little bit about the garlic. Garlic, for me, I suggest 1 large garlic clove at least per 1 large tomato. This is a super large tomato. So this guy's already ready to go. I'm going to put him in the water. So 1 clove of garlic. So if your average batch is 4 large tomatoes, you're going to do your 4 large cloves of garlic. And I would probably do about a half cup of onion. This is closer to a whole cup of onion because I have about 10 tomatoes here. Again, all of this is to taste. It depends on the person, but this stuff is just amazing. We love it. Another thing is cilantro. I always have cilantro in mine. For this size batch, I would just do the same thing, about a cup of cilantro in there. So you're going to need your food processor handy. I use a Ninja. I don't think if you go to the store right now, you probably haven't seen a blue one in a while. This one I've had for a long time. I mean, years. It's been probably 5 to 6 years I've had this thing. They're super reliable. They'll do your salsa in all different textures. We pretty much pulverize ours down so it's almost like bead-like maybe a slushy that has the larger beads. So it's just a really smooth salsa. If you don't want to go that far, you can just pulse it and be done. That way you'll have a more chunky look to your salsa, to your cilantro and to your onion. But I mean, you really want to get this garlic blended up with your tomatoes though. I mean, If you are going to just pulse your Ninja for some, or your food processor for some chunky salsa, you're definitely gonna need to handle this garlic by chopping it by hand or something like that in advance. So this is my Ninja. It's got these really sharp blades. I love it. And that's what I'm going to use to blend all of this up as soon as we get these tomatoes to boil. I turned them down a little bit because I couldn't hear. So we're going to put that on high. We're going to boil these things. We're going to boil them for about, I think it's about 15 minutes. What you'll see is the skin will start to come off and they'll start to soften up. Now you don't want them to get so soft that they're just falling apart. So I think, you know, between 10 and 15 minutes is probably good enough, because when you put these things hot in your food processor, they're just, the heat is going to pull out the flavors of your garlic and your onion, your salt, all that's going to blend together just from the heat. So the main thing is you want to get them soft, and you want to get those skins off as much as you can. So we'll get with that in a second. Thank you for watching so far, and we'll just pause long enough to get these guys boiling and get where we can get to the rest of the recipe.